German manufacturers are really talented. I don't know, is it just the teamwork or what? Today we are going to show you the history of the X series.
Yeah, boy.
Starting from X1 till X7. We will also discuss their specs and also show you how they drift and show you their acceleration, etc. So don't skip, as this will be very informative and you probably did not know some things as well. The Gas and Throttle creators try to make this video as short as possible. I believe this is a very valuable and reliable video about the X series. Most of these SUVs which we are going to show have two engines, which are a choice for the customer, one with the diesel and the other with petrol. The power output varies with both. The BMW X1 E84 was launched in 2009. This SUV was basically based on the E93 series. This car comes in either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It could give 177 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. The newest BMW X1 X4 was produced from 2015 and is currently being produced, and it's the second generation of the X1. Its looks are more meaner and aggressive as compared to the old X1. That basically did not look so much as a SUV.
What? What the f?
However, this one does look like a proper SUV. An interesting thing is that its rear seats slide and get adjustable. You can adjust it to wherever you feel comfortable. Its boot is really massive for storage. BMW really improved this recent X1 to like 100%. If compared to the old ones, this car can produce 230 horsepower and 260 pounds of torque. The power output depends on the type of engine you choose. You get an automatic transmission, but you would have to pay 500 pounds or more for it. If you don't, then you'll get a manual transmission, and you should use a manual transmission, because I personally think that an automatic transmission is absolute trash. You can't even go to a low gear and increase your speed. Like what? Like what? Really? Why would you even choose an automatic transmission? Come on. Tell your dad to teach you how to use the gear. Anyways, then comes the BMW X2, which in words I would define sporty SUV. Why would I call it that? Because the BMW X2, the smallest sports activity coupe from the German stable, it was basically the coupe version for the X1. BMW started making X2 F39 from 2017, and they're still currently making it today. This car can produce 228 horsepower and 260 pounds of torque, which if you choose the diesel version. Now, BMW introduced the X3 E83, the first generation, in 2003 and was produced till 2007. And after 2007, the facelift version of the E83 X3 was produced till 2010. BMW also calls this X3 the smaller brother, or the younger one, of the BMW M5, which was produced in 1999. The 3.0i 580 all-wheel drive can produce 231 horsepower with 300 Newton meters of torque. In this, you would get diesel engine and gasoline engines. After some improvements of the X3, another X3 E83 facelift was produced, and it began from 2007 till 2010. And this was also the E83. The majority of the issues the old X3 had, BMW tried to improve those and added a little bit of new style to make it more attractive. Well, if you want my opinion, then the X3 non-facelift version was not that much of a good-looking car, if that's what you're looking for. But if you compare it to both of these, then this X3 can produce 150 horsepower in gasoline, which ranges till 272 horsepower. The engine choice is totally up to you. You can get a diesel one or a gasoline one. The second generation of the BMW is the X3 F25, which started from 2010 to 2014. After 2014, BMW produced the facelift F25 X3 till 2017. This is an all-wheel drive car with the proper SUV with the proper shape. Yes, with the proper shape, okay? It has proper space in the boot for all the family. Slide the luggage straight in the boot. BMW really improved the quality if compared to the previous BMWs in the X series. This car has a 3.0-liter engine with 308 horsepower and more than 500 pounds of torque in a diesel engine, but obviously you can choose a gasoline one as well. Then the X3 F25 facelift was produced from 2014 to 2017. This car's style and body and headlights were changed and improvements were made. This was also an all-wheel drive SUV. This version could produce 258 horsepower and 560 Newton meters of torque in a diesel engine. You can also get up to 313 horsepower in the diesel one, but however, the customer can have the gasoline one as well. I'm totally sorry if I'm repeating myself because you guys have a serious issue of forgetting stuff. You're young, but you're practically from your mind, you're in your old age. Anyways, then the X3 G01 was produced from 2017, and luckily, these are still being produced. This car has a 3.0-liter engine, a diesel and a mild hybrid engine. This car is equipped with M-Power incline 6 twin-turbo petrol engine and can give up to 360 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. With new tech coming, the BMW gives you a BMW Connected Plus with lots of new features. The BMW X4. The X4 has two generations. The first generation of the X4 F26 was produced from 2014 to 2018. The X4 is a compact SUV coupe. The X4 F26 is based on the X3 F25. With that being said, this SUV supports all-wheel drive as well. This car has either a 2-liter petrol or a 3-liter diesel engine. It can produce up to 355 horsepower and 465 Newton meters of torque. Then from 2018, the BMW X4 G02 started being produced and is still being produced in 2021. But now, they produced the facelift version of the X4. 3 years before, this car had a 3.0-liter petrol engine and can give 360 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque if that's the M40. As you see, this SUV is not practical but rather sporty. The most major upgrade was the electrification, which brought a new 48-volt system. With the all-new X4, you can only get a mild hybrid diesel engine, which ranges from 190 horsepower to 340 horsepower, or a mild hybrid normal engine, which ranges from 184 to 360 horsepower. Well, whatever power you're looking for, you better be responsible, because with great power comes great responsibility. Can you repeat what I said? Anyway, the BMW X5 was started being produced in 1999. The E53 X5 3.0-liter engine had 227 horsepower. You could get either an automatic or manual transmission. This car can do a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 8.5 seconds. In the past 4 years, BMW kept on improving the X5, and in 2003 produced the E53 FL, in which it had 315 horsepower with the V8 and a new grille and more. Then in 2007 till 2010, with more improvements, BMW produced the X5 E70, which is the second generation of the X5. The headlights and the look of the car and the interior was entirely changed. Under the bonnet, BMW installed 6 or 8 cylinders, and that depends on the choice of the customer again, which provided a power output. of 230 horsepower to 360 horsepower. From 2010 till 2014, BMW produced X5 E70 facelift. They gave it a more of a modern look. Then BMW fitted 8-speed automatic gearbox Straptronic as a standard now. The third generation of the X5 F15 was produced from 2014 to 2018. BMW worked on the grille and made it impressive and were extended from one headlight to another. In the third generation, it was the first time when the X5 had a 2-liter engine with a rear-wheel drive only, but the heavy engine performance could produce up to 400 horsepower. In this generation, you could get a diesel, gasoline, and a hybrid engine depending on the customer. The fourth and latest generation of the X5 G05 was produced from 2018 and is still being produced. This one was one of the most popular and premium SUVs in the market. About the engine, you could get a 2.0-liter turbo-charged diesel up to a V8 turbocharged 4.4-liter gasoline unit. Now you can also get a mild hybrid diesel engine, normal diesel, gasoline, and a normal hybrid engine. The first generation of the BMW X6 E71 was produced from 2006 to 2009. The 2008 BMW X6 was basically based on the BMW X5, but the X6 had a modified all-wheel drive system and made it a much more faster and sporty SUV. With the X6, you could get various engine options and various power outputs. You could have from 230 horsepower to 406 horsepower. With some issues improved, then the facelift version of the E71 was produced from 2010 to 2014. This SUV was the most powerful production hybrid in the world in 2010. You could get either a hybrid engine or a diesel engine or a gasoline engine if you really want to light up a fire, which all depends on the customer's choice. The second generation of the X6 F16 was produced from 2014 to 2019. Two different engines based on customer's choice again. Improvements in seats were made, more controls were given, and features were given as well. The third generation of the X6 was produced from 2019 and is still being produced till today. On the front, they gave us daytime running lights, a much meaner front. The engine depends on the customer's choice again, either petrol or diesel. Now, the BMW X7 G07. This was produced from 2018 and is still being produced till now. This SUV was fitted with 2 gasoline units and a 3.0-liter engine offered in 2 versions, which of one was being fitted with 4 turbochargers and the standard transmission was an 8-speed automatic. This is the first BMW SUV to have 7 seats. The power output of all the different variants start from 260 to 530 horsepower. Wow!